Hi, welcome to Melissa's Money Mindset. In today's video, I'm going to bring you with me as I do research and create new and unique designs for my newest business venture, Displate. If you're constantly looking for ways to diversify your income, or you just want to try out a new e-commerce method, then this video is for you. But before we jump into the details, if you could please do me a huge favor and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you never miss another money-making tip. Let's get right into it. If you've never heard of Displate, they're a company that sells print-on-demand, one-of-a-kind metal posters uploaded by independent artists like you and me, making this a great source of income. And what I love most about Displate's products is that they're magnet mounted to the wall, meaning that you don't have to put any holes in your wall, making this the perfect option for renters, kids, college students, or people that just value keeping their wall in one piece. They come in sleek gloss or smooth matte designs, as well as medium, large, and extra large sizes. You can even purchase them pre-framed to add an extra finished look. And they ship to more than 50 countries around the world. Now, if you've watched some of my recent videos, then you know that I don't have an abundance of time on my hands. I currently own and run more than 10 businesses. However, what makes this venture worth it for me is the possibility of easily repurposing the thousands of designs I've already had made for my Merch on Demand, Amazon Seller Central, and Etsy businesses. And the even better part is that because Displate artwork is more expensive than the items I typically sell on those other platforms, the royalty is considerably higher, up to $14.50 per sale if the customer purchases an extra large print. And if you make a sale from sharing the links to your artwork, you can earn up to a 50% commission. And since this is a relatively new opportunity, the platform isn't quite as saturated as some of those other marketplaces, meaning it's easier for your products to stand out. All right, so the first thing that you're gonna have to do is to sign in and basically create a Displate profile. So I'm gonna walk you through how to do that. So head over to displate.com, or you can just Google Displate and you'll be brought to the Displate homepage right here. Now, to get started, all you have to do is click on join and then sign up right here in the top right-hand corner. So once you're on this page, you want to make sure that you toggle over to I'm an artist, and then here, the nickname, this will be your Displate's shop name and custom URL. So make sure that you put some thought into this. I highly recommend making this something memorable, something easily recognizable for potential customers in the future. Then all you have to do is set up your email, your password, and click create an account. So once you're logged in, this is what your storefront will look like. Now you will be able to upload a background right here. So I just grabbed my background from Canva since I already pay for Canva Pro. And then you can also upload a custom profile picture right here. So again, I just had Midjourney make me my profile picture, but of course, if you already have a company logo that you want to use, you can feel free to use that here. And then you can see this little blurb underneath here. This is basically where you tell your customers about your store, what makes your store unique, and why they should consider purchasing from you. So make sure that you're taking some time. I feel like these are really valuable things. They just make you basically look more professional, like more of a real business. So make sure that you're taking the time out of your life to fill these things out, because it really does have an impact on your sales and your business overall. All right, and then if you look at your overview and your Displates, yours will currently be empty because you haven't uploaded any artwork yet, but you can come back once you do have some artwork that's been published live, and you can decide which ones you want to have as promoted designs. So you can always come back and select which ones are promoted. Those will show up at the top of your store, almost in a banner fashion, and can help boost sales for your most popular items. So now once your shop is set up, it's time to start doing some research and deciding which designs you want to actually have made. So I'm going to talk you through my research process. Now, I haven't found a great research tool for specifically Displate quite yet. I don't know if that exists like it exists for Merch on Demand, Etsy, and KDP. However, I've just been figuring out how to do research manually, so I kind of wanted to show you my process, and hopefully that's helpful to you. So our first goal is to try to find a target niche. Now, like I've said in all of my previous research videos, we're not just going to be making designs willy-nilly here and hoping that they're going to sell. We have to do some market research. We have to find a way to try to determine which items are considered best-selling on the Displate platform. Now, there isn't a BSR that I have come to find. If you know of any way to do that, please let me know. But since there's not a BSR or any way numerically or analytically, basically, to judge which items are selling better than others, I've kind of had to find some bestseller lists and then go down a few rabbit holes doing some research on independent artist websites. So once we find a niche that is selling well, we can then try to make our own spin on that niche and our own unique design. So I'm going to show you how to do all of those things in this video. So the only way that I have found to see best-selling designs is to come up here to collections at the top, and then here you'll see best-selling collections. So I'm going to click on animals for the sake of today's video. Now, as we scroll through this art here, make sure that you're paying attention. Some of these designs are pretty basic, like this one. It could have just been a design that this artist had purchased from Bexels and they just threw some text over the top of it. Now, some of them definitely are a lot more intricate, like this or this. Some of them are 100% AI created. Maybe all of them are AI created. It's kind of hard to tell. But the purpose of scrolling through these is basically to just get a feel for what is selling and also to get a feel for what I think I could potentially make better or unique in my own way. You can also rearrange these by new, by trending, but again, I think the most helpful thing here is understanding which items in this category are considered best selling so that we don't waste our time making items that are not ever going to sell. So for today's video, I'm going to again click on animal. This seems like the most basic. I feel like I could improve on these designs quite substantially. All right, now here's another trick. So basically this is the artist that has created all of these designs. So we know that some of these in this category are considered best selling on Displate. So another tip here, click on the artist's name. This will bring you to the artist's storefront, so you can see all of their best-selling designs right here. And of those best-selling designs, we know that their animals are the absolute top-selling designs of all of their store. However, again, we're gonna go down another bit of a rabbit hole here, so click on collections. We're gonna toggle this to say Displates, and this will actually show us overall which items specifically are this artist's best-selling art pieces or displays. So now you can see that this cat riding a shark and another cat riding a shark are their top selling designs. Now, the frustrating part for me here, and probably a lot of you too, is that I can't quantify how many of these designs or displays this artist is selling per month. They could be selling 5 per month. They could be selling 5,000 of these per month. I have no way of knowing, but I do know that overall, this is one of the best selling animal collections on the entire Displate platform. So now that we have found a potential niche, I like to go and do some physical research. So I'm going to basically decide if this niche is popular enough that it is worth our time to make. So basically at the top here of Displate, I'm going to search for cat riding shark. Now you can choose obviously whatever keywords are relevant to the artwork that you're trying to research. All right, so you can see that this search came back with 17 results. So there's really not many on the platform. And we know that of all of these designs, this one right here is a bestseller on the platform. So this tells me a few things. This tells me, one, there's not very much competition. Let's say you did this search for cat riding shark and 1,000 designs came up. I would probably say potentially stay away from that because it seems like that's already super saturated. So we know that there's not very many applicable designs already up on the platform, and we know that there is demand. Now, the final thing that I like to ask myself before I decide whether or not this is a niche that I want to put some time into making is, do I think I can improve on these designs? Now, I guarantee probably most, if not all of these are AI created. That's totally fine. That's what I'm going to be doing today too. This one, I think we could definitely improve on. And the other ones, I think we could make pretty decent variations of. I'm just curious to see what Midjourney comes up with for us today. And I do have a few other tricks up my sleeve. So this is going to be kind of a technical video. Please bear with me. I promise it will be worth it in the end. I want to show you basically how to apply a reference image to Midjourney if you're going to use Midjourney or if you want to use Ideogram. And basically AI can take that reference image and incorporate whatever style you want into this cat riding a shark image. So this is going to be kind of fun. Again, kind of technical, but please bear with me. Always think about your target demographic before you start creating for Displate. So who would be taking the time to come on Displate and purchase a metal poster to put somewhere in their home? My first thought goes to someone with kids. So I searched for kids and there are so many cute kid poster options. Kids are always changing their mind, wanting to redecorate their room. And these would be super easy basically to interchange or to have a parent interchange in their room so that they can switch up pretty affordably the style of their bedroom. So I would keep that in mind. Another category that I think would be great is basically kitchen or herbs potentially. So you can see all these herbs and spices, or even if you want to search for, oh yeah, here's rosemary down here, basil, coriander. People love these really aesthetic, kind of more simple and mature designs to put in their kitchen or their sunroom, even if you want to do it for a flower potentially. Another option to consider are gamers or video games. So as long as you're not intellectually infringing on anybody, so you can't use like Super Mario Brothers or any trademarked names or copyrighted names or companies, then you can really go wild with your imagination. I know gamers that are live streaming always have really colorful artwork behind them, often illuminated by like some fun LED light system. So I would look into anything that gamers would be into. Again, make sure that you're doing keyword research so that you're not wasting time if it's already oversaturated. But that was just another idea that I had. And finally, I could also see these being used as basically like decor in a basement bar. If somebody has like a billiard room in their basement and a bar next to it, they could have all of these different cocktail recipes on the wall next to their bar. And I think that'd be super fun. People could also even put this up in a barn or something to like spruce up an outdoor kind of building. So again, just make sure that you're kind of thinking outside the box and thinking about who your target audience truly is. I also wanted to point out that a lot of these designs that I'm using for merch on demand might not actually completely fit in the Displate space. So what I'm talking about, for example, are some of these designs that have smaller words on them. So for example, this poster has a bunch of cocktail recipes on it. And even right now from this far away, you can't really tell what this says. So on a t-shirt where you would have to shrink this down even more, you definitely would not be able to read what this says. So again, take your merch on demand designs with a grain of salt. You can always use them as inspiration or upload them as a reference image and not use the exact design. Okay, so now we're going to move on to making the designs. I am nowhere good enough at using Photoshop to feel confident in uploading my Photoshop designs to Displate, so I prefer to use Midjourney. So today I'm going to use Midjourney since we're doing kind of a detailed, more fun design with some animals in it. But I also like to use ideogram if I'm going to be making a person, like using a person's face, or if I want to use something that has text on it. So sometimes Midjourney spells things incorrectly, even if I type it out correctly in the prompt. Ideogram seems to get words and text and faces correct a lot more often. All right, so the next step is basically focusing on writing a really, really detailed prompt for Midjourney to make our image based off of. So I am a decent writer, but I like to have a little bit of extra help. So I'm gonna go to Google and I'm gonna Google AIPRM, and I'm gonna scroll down here to the Chrome Web Store. Now, all you have to do is click on Add to Chrome, and this will basically add itself to your Chrome profile and will allow you to use this AIPRM program with ChatGPT. So you'll just click on Install to Chrome, and then you can click here to access ChatGPT with all AIPRM features. All right, so this should redirect you to ChatGPT with the new extension installed, and this is what it will look like. So basically, I usually click on Midjourney Prompt Generator since that's what I want this to create for me. That's what we're doing today. So I click on Midjourney Prompt Generator. You'll see that it was added to our prompt down here. Make sure that you see that. And then down here, you can also add, if you want it in another language, I would like mine in English, which kind of tone you would like, and also what kind of writing style you would like. And then all you have to do is click on here where it says keyword, and you'll just have to input your prompt. Now, this prompt can be very simple. So I'm going to type a highly detailed image of a cute cat riding a shark in the ocean. And then I'll just click on enter. Now you can see that this basically created 4 unique prompts for me. So you can read through each of these if you want to. I usually always have Midjourney make all 4 of these just so that I can kind of compare and contrast and pick whichever one I like best. Okay, so now I'll head over to Midjourney. This is the homepage of Midjourney. If you don't already have a Midjourney account, you probably will have to create one, which I believe is free. I think there's also a paid option if you want to pay for it. So once you've created an account, you can just click on create. And I'm just going to paste in our prompt. And you can see some of my previous designs here. So this is basically showing you that I used a prompt and I used a reference image. Now, I pretty much always use a reference image unless I just am curious to see what Midjourney comes up with. However, I've found that the results are usually pretty underwhelming if I don't add a reference image, but again, it's completely up to you. We can see what this looks like without a reference image, and then I'll show you an option with a reference image. All right, so to find a reference image, I always go to stylefari.xyz. So basically you can look through all of the designs here. Now, take these with a grain of salt. So just because you see a picture of a girl, like an anime girl here, that doesn't mean that your image is going to be of an anime girl. Basically just look at the style of the image. So how colorful this is, any contrast. You can see that there's kind of sparkles here in her hair. So pay attention to those kinds of things and just find a reference image that you might be happy with the style of in our new image. Okay, so just kind of to show you a goofy example, I'm gonna go with this. Now you can either copy this reference style number right here. I usually don't do that. I take a screenshot of either one of these panels of images. So I'm gonna do that. All right, so I've got my reference image. I saved that in a folder over here. So now I'm heading back over to Midjourney. Now look, okay, this is not like the hardened battle kitty design that I was hoping for, but it shows you the power of AI and the power of a very good writing prompt. So let's look at these quick. I mean, it's an adorable cat and a shark. Who's not gonna love that? So I don't love that one so much. I always make sure like this one is much more detailed than this one. So I wouldn't go with that one. That one's cute. I don't love the cat on that one. I like this one. That's cute with the fish. So I think number 1 and number 4, I would potentially upload. So now let's contrast this to providing the same prompt, but with our new reference image. Okay, so I'm gonna use the same text and then I'm just going to drag and drop my reference image over here. And I'm going to click on submit. All right, so here is my reference image. I will put that in the middle of the screen for now. And you can see that the images that were just created with the reference image are significantly different and very similar to the reference image. So let's take a look at those and we'll kind of compare and contrast those to what Midjourney came up with on its own. So definitely much more tropical, much more colorful, vibrant, detailed. So I would say this is spot on. Not the hardened badass battle kitty that I was looking for, but I will show you. Oh my God, this is my favorite one. That is so good. Okay, yeah, these would be perfect. So I may be uploading some of these later. So again, it just shows you the power of a reference image or a reference number. Now, let me show you how to maybe more accurately recreate the best-selling cat riding a shark image that we initially saw on Displate. So I'm gonna head back over to Displate and I'm gonna use one of these as my reference image. So we can pick whichever one we want to. I'm gonna use this one right here and potentially this one right here in 2 separate prompts, since we know at least that this one is a bestseller. So I'm gonna screenshot this. I use Gyazo for screenshots, but screenshot however you wish. And again, I'm just gonna save this to my Displate folder. Okay, so to get a more accurate representation of our initial cat riding a shark Displate image, I'm gonna head back over to ChatGPT. I'll click on our Midjourney prompt generator again, and I'm gonna use some more precise wording here, don't judge me. All right, so let's try this prompt. And I'm going to try this reference image and we'll see what that comes up with. I'm also gonna use the same prompt with the image that we know is best-selling. Okay, so let's take a look at these images that were created. Okay, so these are much more realistic. Now you can kind of see like here, this is supposed to be firing out of the end of the gun and it's shooting out of the bottom of the gun. So again, AI does not always get things correct. This one is much more spot on. So I would say that this is definitely better than at least some of the things that we saw for sale on Displate. Let's check out the images from the prompt that we know is best-selling. So wow. Okay. I wasn't expecting those. Here's the reference image I used. That's funny. Okay, well, yeah, not exactly the same, but they're pretty good. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I know some people that would hang this on their wall for sure. So, okay. So the next thing that we're going to do, I'm just going to pick one that I want to download. Now, the final thing that I like to do before I download this image is do a reverse Google image search. So to do that, I do a screenshot and then I right click on the screenshot and I click on search with Google Lens. Now, I really enjoy using Midjourney, but I always want to rely on me, myself, and I, because I am publishing these things live on a public platform at the end of the day. I don't want to be infringing on anybody. So doing a reverse Google image search basically tells me if Midjourney for some reason stole that artwork from somebody else. So you can see these are our reference images essentially that we used, and they're not identical to this. So this is a unique image and I am free and clear to use it however I'd like to. Okay, so now that we've determined that I can use this image, I'll just click on download image right here in the top right-hand corner. And then we're not quite done yet because Displate has quite a list of image criteria that you have to meet for them to even approve your image to be uploaded for sale on their platform. All right, so this is a really helpful blog post. I was referencing this all the time at the beginning when I was new to selling on Displate. So it will show you right here, the shortest side of the image has to be at least 2,900 pixels. The image should be a 1:1.4 ratio, and it should be the recommended dimensions of 4,000 by 5,600 with a minimum DPI of 300. Now, I have had a few images not approved because their DPI wasn't this high. So make sure that you are abiding by all these things. It also says the maximum size of the file can only be 30 megabytes. Now, this is the image that we just created. So it's currently 1,024 by 1,024 pixels. So it would not be approved in its current state. So essentially what that means is that we need to upscale the image, meaning that we basically just have to enhance the size of the image without changing the DPI, or basically the quality of the image. So how do we do that? So I personally like to use Upscayl. So if you go to upscayl.org/download, you'll be brought to this page and you can basically download Upscayl. I believe it's free. I don't think I paid for it. And you can download whatever version you want depending on whichever operating system you have on your computers. So I am using the Windows version. And then all I have to do is drag and drop the image over here, or you can select it. Now, the really important part here is that you select the correct model. So if you click here, you'll see this drop-down menu. Make sure that you're selecting General Photo Fast Real Esargin. I don't know what that means, but that's the option that you have to select. Then this is essentially telling you it's going to upscale your image by a factor of 4. Then you can just select your output folder. This is where it's going to save your new design, and all you have to do is click on upscale. So this is telling you it's going to upscale your image from 1,024 by 1,024 pixels to 4,096 by 4,096 pixels. Okay, and here is the new image that's bigger, upscaled by a factor of 4. So now we're ready to upload this image to Displate. Okay, so we'll head back over to Displate. You'll basically head over to the top right-hand corner, click on My Profile, and then all you have to do is click on Upload Artwork. Again, this is reminding you of what your artwork can and cannot be. So they basically want you to have high quality Upwork with all of the dimensions that I previously mentioned. And they also want to make sure that you are the owner of this artwork, that you're not basically stealing anybody else's work. So we know all those things are true. I'm going to click on Upload Artwork. I'm just going to drag and drop our resized artwork into the screen here. Okay, so now we know that we created a square image. So basically, this is showing you the area that will be printed. Now, the nice part is you can rotate your image here. Now, you can also choose if you want your image to be printed horizontally like this or vertically like this. So it's totally up to you. I personally think this image looks better vertical, so I'm gonna go with that. Just a side note here, you can drag and move these corners. So I always expand these down to the edges of the artwork, and then you can always move the printed area around until you're happy. So I think that looks pretty good. And I'm just gonna click on next. Now on this page, Displate is going to analyze your artwork and basically write your title and your description for you. Now, I have uploaded a few images of a cat riding a shark, and they always give me the same title. So if you want to change up the title a little bit, maybe you can say a tabby cat riding a battle shark, or riding a shark into battle. And then I always read the description to make sure that it makes sense. Okay, so that all sounds good to me. And then all I have to do is click on digital art because AI created this for me, and click on next. Now here is the tag page. So if you sell on Etsy or a similar platform, you know that tags are incredibly important. And basically my point in saying this is that if you have power over your listing in any way, I highly recommend that you take it. So you can add up to 15 tags for each design. So there's obviously not 15 tags here, but it came up with 10 tags for me here. So again, I always make sure that they are relevant, and then I want to max out and add as many tags as I can. So I'm going to do that. Now, I also think that this blog post is really helpful. So if you go down to tagging your artwork, it will essentially tell you the do's and don'ts of tagging your Displate artwork. So do use relevant keywords, do include multi-word keywords. We know that long tail keywords are more beneficial than just a single word keyword. Mix in some niche tags, so use a combination of popular and specific tags. Separate your tags with a comma. Make sure that your spelling is correct. This is a simple one. And tagging don'ts. Don't use meaningless tags. Don't use things like best selling or trending because people are not going to be searching for those things in the search bar. Don't add your name. So basically this is saying to focus on using tags that describe your work. And also don't skip spaces between words. So don't say like cat riding shark, but with no spaces in between the words, because it will use that as one word and it'll think that it's not a word at all. Don't use social media hashtags. Don't mention equipment used. Don't worry about grammar. Don't use duplicate tags, and also don't use profanities. So anyway, again, this blog post is really helpful if you want to check it out. It's just on Displate's blog. So how to tag, name and describe your artwork to increase sales. All right, so I'm going to add cat riding shark, battle cat, battle shark, cat lover gift, shark lover gift. And then that's all my tags. Now, another really, really, really important note, you cannot come back in later and edit your tags like you can in Etsy. So make sure that you're filling your tags out now. Make sure you're happy with your tags now. You only get one chance to do this, so make sure you're taking the time to do it correctly. Now, I always pick a category, so I'm going to choose animals. And then I highly, highly, highly recommend adding relevant collections. So you can add however many collections you want to your Displate store. So I actually do have an animal collection. If I didn't have a relevant collection, I can just click on create new collection. So for today, I'm just going to click animals. And then I just have to accept the Displate terms of use and click next. So basically now the Displate team will essentially review the artwork to make sure that it's meeting all of their criteria, that they think that it will print okay on all of their metal posters. And then you should be able to either upload your next artwork here, or you can go to your profile and you can see all of your other Displates that are currently live. Now, typically I see a response about whether or not my design was approved or rejected. And if it was rejected, I don't feel like there's the same negative connotation with a design being disapproved on Displate as there is on Merch on Demand. Merch on Demand, if you get that email saying that your design has been rejected or you've had a design taken down for some reason, those just like hit you right in the heart and they'll terminate your account if you get enough of those. I haven't heard that so much with Displate. It's just kind of like upload as many things as you want and whatever like sticks and whatever they like, they will approve to be sold on the Displate website. So I wouldn't panic. I wouldn't worry too much if you get a rejection. I've had a few. I know plenty of friends that have had a lot of Displate rejections and nobody's been banned unless you're like blatantly copying somebody's work, which obviously don't do that. Another thing, I have noticed that it's taking a little bit longer than usual, a little bit longer than that 72-hour threshold to receive a response. So I've been having to email the Displate team recently. I'm not sure, maybe just because it's Q4 and they're probably inundated with sales and customer questions and shipping and all those things. But it seems like the process has been a little bit slower recently. So again, the Displate team is amazing. If you need to email them, they get back to you usually same day. So if you have a question, don't hesitate to reach out to them. So that's my entire process for researching, creating, and then uploading your design to the Displate platform. Now, I know we just covered quite a bit of information, so please let me know if you have any questions on any of the topics we just talked about down below in the comments. As always, feel free to follow me on my social channels right here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.